lined up for you. I'm your host, Kim Jacobs, better known as the Balance Doctor. And all of our guests that come on, they're either people that have overcome some tremendous odds in their own lives as they balance this thing called life, or they're experts and they're here to share tips and strategies that will help you better balance and manage your life. Grab your virtual seats and let's get ready for some real relevant and relatable content on today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. Hey, everybody. Hope you all are having a wonderful start to your week. Hello, Malaysia. How are you over there?
Hi, Miss Kim. I am well. How are you?
Oh, I am doing so much better now that you are here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I am so grateful to have you. And you know what, you guys, you are in for such a tremendous treat today here on the Kim Jacobs Show. I really want you to tag all of your friends, your family, coworkers, people you like, people you don't. It doesn't matter because everyone needs to get this information that's shared today. On today's episode, we're talking with Malaysia Harrell, and we're going to be talking about her near-death experience to her new life. And looking at this woman, you really cannot imagine that she does not look like what she's been through. Ooh. So I'm eager to hear her story, and we're going to spend this hour with her learning. We're going to kind of pocket it because there's a lot of different moving pieces to your life, you know? So I'm excited about it. And make sure everyone, as you come in, let us know where you're visiting in from as well. And I am going to go ahead and just take a moment to let you know more about Malaysia Harrell. She is a distinguished retired veteran, having served over 20 years in the United States Air Force and Public Health Service with a profound commitment to holistic wellness. She is a certified hypnotherapist, psychotherapist, and visionary of Blissful Life Consulting. Her near-death experience, which we're going to talk about that, and I'm going to let her say it as to what it did to catapult her to the next phase of her life without me reading that piece. But she has divine purpose, and she offers transformative coaching, retreats, and innovative wellness solutions. I am super excited to have this beacon of resilience and empowerment right here with us today on the Kim Jacobs Show. Welcome, Malaysia.
Thank you. Thank you for this warm welcome. And thank you again for what you're doing and inspiring the world, bringing on people's stories and just showing what God is able to do, the miracles that are able to happen. So I'm so glad that I connected with you.
I am too. And we have a special bond because we're connected because of someone very near and dear to me as well. And to you all. She's one of our Freestyle Friday experts, Annetta Caldwell.
Yes, so, that's my beautiful sister.
That is her sister. And so ErnettaCaldwell.com. You all know she's the person that helps if you're healing from a broken heart. And she does the prayer vision retreats and workshops. And she also had a big event called I Am Healed conference. And it was such a cleansing experience. So if you don't know Ernetta Caldwell, make sure you check her out, ErnettaCaldwell.com. And she's a Freestyle Friday expert. She was on this recently, this past Friday, actually.
Yeah, she's in awesome. She's in the chat too. Oh, thank you, Ernetta. Thank you for joining. Love you.
She said, good morning, beautiful ladies. Good morning to you. She said, I'm so excited and proud of you, sis. And then I see people tagging people as well. So thank you all for doing that. What we're going to do is take a quick commercial break, and we're going to come right back and hear something about your backstory, Malaysia. I would like you to just take us back for a few moments and let us know where you came from.
Okay.
And then we can go into a deeper dive. We'll be right back, everyone, right after this commercial break. We'll be right back. Hi, I'm Kim Jacobs, the Managing Director of the Charlotte, North Carolina chapter of eWomen Network. I am so excited that you stopped to watch this video. I've got good news for you. You've just discovered an international network of women entrepreneurs who are committed to helping you achieve, succeed, and prosper. We're on a mission here to help 1 million women entrepreneurs each achieve $1 million in annual revenue. Here at eWomen Network, we have a complete success system that supports you every step of the way in building and growing your business.
You being here right now, it's no accident. We're supposed to know about you. We want to meet you to find out how we can help you as well as learn about what you have to offer. With over 500,000 women connected through 118 chapters across the United States, Canada, Australia, and the United Kingdom, you are never alone. If this is resonating with you, please go to ewomennetwork.com/Charlotte. Notice too my contact information. I invite you to reach out to me and to check out our upcoming in-person and online events. I'm really looking forward to introducing you to our special community.
Yes, everyone. So I am excited because with eWomen Network, we have events. There are 118 chapters around the country. So if you're interested, no matter where you are in the country, definitely you can put Kim Jacobs as your sponsor, and I will connect you to your local managing director. If you're here in the Charlotte and surrounding areas, make sure that you visit ewomennetwork.com/Charlotte, and we will invite you to all of our events that are taking place at the Charlotte Museum of History. All right, Malaysia,
Yes.
tell us a little bit about your backstory, what you had to balance and go through to become who you are today. Let's talk about it.
Ooh, this is juicy. So, I grew up in Springfield, Massachusetts, and that's the Basketball Hall of Fame, and it's about 2.5 hours outside of New York City. So you can imagine, it's a city filled with crime, a lot of blessings there as well. But, when I came up, it was definitely, very challenging. And my mom, she was a single parent, and I'm the oldest of 3 girls. And so that was also a very challenging environment for so many things. I experienced a lot of, poverty, also, all types of abuse, physical abuse, serious mental abuse, and also sexual abuse from several different people when I was little. And so at that time, with the balance, I really had to learn to take myself outside of myself at a very young age. And it didn't allow me to really have a childhood at all. And so I, learned to wear this mask of excellence and of perfectionism, which I know a lot of our viewers can identify with. Things that happen to us cause us to not always be our authentic selves because we want to hide, the trauma and the pain that is going on. And so I really learned at a young age how to become this. On the outside, you wouldn't know what was going on. And even from our story of what we've learned, a lot of people wouldn't know what's going on. And so through my journey, I've had to learn to really unmask a lot of that and release a lot of that. But I was blessed, I had a lot of angels in my life, I would say, when I was a little girl, angels all the time. And you don't realize it when it's happening, but it's till you reflect later when you say, you know what, God was always there. I always had someone to be by my side. And so I remember I was always in these gifted, talented programs, for writing, for science, for everything, for leadership. And so I was always sent to these different programs. And I think it allowed me to have hope, to show me that, life didn't have to be like the life that I saw in front of me every day. And, I really had to be a kind of like a parent to my sisters. And I feel like at some point I really raised them when I was little, and it wasn't until, a little bit later, I was actually removed from my mom's home because of the abuse. The cops actually removed me. So that's where it all started. It was
you can't go to the rest of the story without us unpacking some of what you just said, because there are a lot of young people that have gone through what you've experienced. And then ultimately, like you said, being removed from the home. Here you are, the parent figure That's the only stability really right there in the home for your two younger sisters. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
That's what you're hearing.
And so at what age were you removed from the home?
It was maybe about 11, 12-ish. It was before, maybe 10, maybe 11. It was right before junior high school that I was removed and sent with my grandmother. And I had so much guilt, even now, I've even as an adult, I had so much guilt associated with that, because, I did everything that I could to make sure that I didn't abandon my sisters, because I didn't want them to endure what I was enduring. So I was the one who tried to, really take the brunt of everything that was going on at that time. So
and so being removed from the home and your sisters having to still stay there, or were they?
Well, they stayed there for a while with her, but they ultimately had to be removed, or had to move to different places as well. So they have their own, stories of triumph, that of the things that they had to go through as well. But yeah, it stuck with me. It's still, like I said, it doesn't just magically disappear. But yeah, I wanted to do everything to make sure that they didn't get removed. So I actually had a counselor in middle school, and she came. I don't know, again, the angels, but I remember in junior high school, there was a social worker that came to the school, and they specifically took a small group of girls. It wasn't even a whole class. And she started talking about mistreatment. And what it was like, and all of the things, and I just bawled. I started crying. I could not control myself. And again, no one knew any of this.
Right.
I came to school with bruises. I would hide them. I would have a summer, a sweater on in the summer. And it was after that she started meeting with me on a regular basis. But I did everything to say, listen, you can't tell my mom, you can't tell anyone, because I didn't want to, I didn't want my sisters to be, I think they probably would have taken all of us, at that time. So I didn't know what would happen and if we would get split up and put in different places. So, but I'm telling you, those angels were there the whole time.
Okay. So now you're in counseling, basically, really unbeknownst to you, because they handpicked you and selected you in middle school, right? In junior middle school. And they pulled you out of all of these kids in this school. You get selected. Now, what did that do for you whenever you realized that you were chosen, even though at the time you weren't looking at it like you were the chosen one in that regard?
Right.
But like you said, angels were protecting you.
That's right.
What did that do for you in that time?
It let me know that God loves me, because I didn't feel the love at home, with my mom. I love my sisters. They love me. But when you don't have the love of your parent, and my dad was really absent at that time, it's hard, because you're like, if my parents don't love me, then does anybody else love me? You question God's love for your life as well. So to have her to talk to me, it gave me hope. And I knew that at the end of the day, if things got really, really like I was in real danger, that there was someone that I could call if I really, really needed to. So I knew God was there.
Yes, even at an early age. So everyone that's watching, I know many of us, we all have, and probably all of us have something that we have overcome to become who we are today. And that's a real big thrust of this show is, what's your backstory? What did you have to endure to become ultimately who you are today? And how can you really help other people get to the other side of their mountain based on your own testimony, your own story? And so I'm so grateful that you all are tuning in today. I already see lots of comments coming in, and we will take like a flash round in a few minutes and go through all of those. But let's just go through some of them right now. Mackenzie, go ahead and pop some of them. Mackenzie's backstage, everybody. Pop some of these comments up, because we don't want to go too far in the show and not capture them. So I see Ernetta Caldwell saying there is freedom in the unmasking.
Yes, it is.
when you finally take that mask off. Dr. Tina J. Ramsey, she's the founder of CTR Media Network, which allows the Kim Jacobs Show to ultimately stream in 100 countries as well. And so I'm so happy that you're on today, Dr. Tina J. Ramsey. Meet this lovely spirit and wonderful soul, Malaysia Harrell. She is going to be taking my training too. I know she encourages you to take the Kim Jacobs Show training and then come over to CTR Media Network. That way she knows you're ready. So I would love to be able to connect y'all. Okay?
Absolutely.
All right. Ernetta Caldwell said, thank you. I'm so proud and excited for you, sis. Very excited for you. And I saw a comment from Dennis Spraggins as well. Good morning, beautiful ladies. Good morning to you, Ernetta. Let's see. I see much love from Dennis Spraggins as well. Glad to have a male on here and glad that you all are tuning in. I also saw, I see Trina Hines. She just recently is launching a show as well that's coming out this fall, and Living Your Legacy with Dr. Trina. I see you. Who else? Desmona. I see you as well, all the way, I think, from Pennsylvania. So glad to see you as well. And all of you that are over on Instagram too. I can't see who all is on. So, but know that I do know and appreciate that you're here, as well as our audio podcast listeners too on iHeartRadio, Spotify, all of you all. We just love you all and so glad to have you here. All right. So Malaysia, what was that turning point for you? Because you had a near-death experience that happened in 2020, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
What was that like for you? Tell us what happened and then.
Okay. Well, and I'll give you a little bit of backstory of that as well. So I had, become this person who had a lot of high profile jobs. I was considered, successful, what society would deem as successful. And so I was in junior ROTC in high school, and that really, I have to mention that, because when people are in situations that are challenging, if you could be connected to some sort of community that gives you some sort of stability and support, I think that's very important. But it really catapulted and really kind of set the stage for where my life is today. And so and when I went to college, undergrad, I did 1 year of Army ROTC and 1 year of Air Force ROTC. Okay. And then when I started my graduate school program at the University of Maryland School of Social Work, I had to decide what I wanted to do. And so at that time, 9/11 had occurred, and I was at my internship at the Baltimore Public Defender's Office. And Ms. Kim, I will tell you, that day I knew that I was going to, I made a declaration that day that I was going into the military. And so it took, about a year to get in, and I finally got in the military, and I did very well. I was in the United States Air Force. I traveled all over the world, doing therapy, substance abuse treatment, and also family violence treatment as well, family violence prevention. And so I did so well. Again, this was the perfect arena for me, because they validated me, right? You get your rank, you get your awards, you get all the things if you do well. And I excelled, because it's like I had used my career, my schooling as my love, as my validation, because, and again, it was from childhood. I didn't realize it. It wasn't like, oh, I knew. And so then in 2008, I was stationed in Hawaii.
Okay.
And my brother, I have a half brother, and he got murdered. Now, the crazy thing about that is, number one, I lived next door to him when I lived with my grandmother, so I saw him every day. And number two, I was at a domestic violence event, because I was the head of domestic violence for that base. And I was at an event when I got the call, and he was murdered in a domestic violence situation. And so, Miss Kim, that changed a lot in me. I feel like I still haven't really grieved that. I had to put my mask on. I had to help my family. I had to help plan his funeral, I just put everything down. And so that day, again, I knew that it was time for me to make a change in my life. And so I decided to transfer to the United States Public Health Service because I knew that I could be there for my family, whether, an hour to Massachusetts by plane or an hour to North Carolina with my sisters.
Yeah.
I was able to make that decision. So I ended up transferring and, was in the public health service. And in 2019, so that was 2010 when I came in. And in 2019, I ended up getting promoted to captain, which is Navy rank equivalent to colonel. And and I had worked for the Surgeon General of the United States. I had all the titles, the director of addiction medicine for DOD, working for the White House, all the things. But in 2019, when I got promoted, I felt empty inside. I did all these things. This is what I worked for.
This is everything you ever dreamed of is happening for you.
And I was like, wait a minute. Okay, let me think about some things now. And at that time, my grandmother had passed in 2016, and she was like my mother. So she raised me. So I realized when I got promoted, I in my head, I said, oh my goodness, I got to call my Nana. And I she was the first person. She was my cheerleader. You know what I mean? I have my sisters. I have my dad. Me and my dad have an excellent relationship. But it was like something was missing. So now moving forward to 2020, I got deployed at the height of COVID to the Navajo Nation, to the most desolate area. They sent me by myself. That was crazy. To be the mental health lead for the incident command sponsor team, the incidents response command team, and also to be the mental health provider for 2 medical centers for all the staff. So again, you can imagine during this time, it was a time of a lot of death, a lot of loss. It was actually a very dangerous place for me, being by myself as well, with a lot of things that happened there. And so there was an awakening that was starting to occur because I felt the darkness there. And again, I mean, I felt it. I was like, okay, something's happening, and I wasn't sure. By the time I left there, I had started to have some anxiety, and a lot was happening, and I couldn't understand what was going on inside of me.
But you knew something before you go further. You knew something was different inside of your body.
Definitely.
And were you attributing it to the fact that you were in isolation, somewhere unfamiliar, uncharted territory? Were you kind of brushing it off as that?
No, well, not necessarily. It was so much going on, and the loss, and then of course trying to communicate with my family, and I was married. I am married. We got married in 2016, and people didn't understand where I was coming from. My husband's like, you're not in Afghanistan. Why are you, you know what I mean? Why are you crying? What's wrong with you? And so they didn't identify with me having this emotion and trying to come out with things. And
it's
so
be grateful type of thing. People were like,
yes.
Girl, you should be grateful. You could be.
Yes. Yes.
And so nobody was really understanding your pain.
Exactly. But people had sent me care packages. My sister sent me a care package. My other girlfriend sent me a care package. So people love me, and I knew that. But I felt like I needed some time to decompress, which I was not allowed. I had to just go back and do things the way things were. So I started exercising a lot, and I was exercising a lot there. To you know what to do. I'm a mental health provider. I know all the things to do. Right. I'm the specialist. I'm I'm all the things. Nothing's wrong. Nothing can be wrong. And so I got home, and me and my husband were walking one day. And I remember that day specifically because my Nana had came to me in my dream, and she had basically gave me the message that it was time for me to come with her. It was time for me to pass. And I had a sense of calm because I was like, I had a great life. If it's time to go, I pray God is, happy with what I've accomplished and the impact that I've had on people's lives. And so I remember thinking about that when I was walking with him. So again, I was exercising a lot, doing my Peloton bike. And it wasn't until a couple weeks later, had started having some pain in my hip, and the pain, it became unmanageable because one night I got up to go to the bathroom and I couldn't walk.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
So I crawled to the bathroom because I didn't want to wake my husband up, and I couldn't get up. So I'm on the floor crying. Again, I'm this strong woman. I've done everything. I can do it. And so I get in the bathroom and I'm on the floor crying because I can't get up. Like, what's going on? And so my husband comes in there. He picks me up. He's like, what's going on? And I'm like, I'm in so much pain and I can't walk. And so anyways, he helps me go back to the bed. I probably took some ibuprofen or something like that. Right. And what happened was it got worse and worse. So one day we ended up calling the ambulance. They came and got me. They brought me to this little medical center where I live, not too far, and they didn't have any resources. You know, it was like being in a nurse school office, right, you know. Right. So they gave me morphine, took an x-ray and sent me home. And said, follow up with your PC. You know, they didn't see, nothing was broken. Okay. And so ultimately, again, it got so bad that I was like, something's really wrong. But I tried to treat it myself, Tiger Balm, right, ice, cold, heat. So
we all do that, right?
Yeah, because we know what to do, right?
Right.
And so then my husband was like, listen, we got to go to the military hospital. Like, and I was like, but I can't get down the stairs. I need somebody to carry me. He's like, I'm going to carry you. You get on my back. But I was screaming for dear life coming down the stairs because it hurt so bad. So I thought, oh my goodness, somebody's going to call the cops. They're going to think someone's murdering me, you know? Right. Yeah. And so he gets me, we go to Andrews Air Force Base. And because of the amount of pain I was in, they immediately transferred me to Walter Reed Medical Center. And I'm there for 4 days. Miss Kim, this is the part. Okay. So I'm there for 4 days and I'm in the most extreme pain. And I knew I was dying to the point where I was reflecting on my life. I was sending texts to people. Letting them know. I didn't tell anyone, you know, exactly what, and again, I didn't attribute the dream that I had just had with my Nana to everything. She was really warning me. Mm-hmm. And also I was reflecting on all the things that I didn't get to do. I was like, I didn't get to learn how to swim. I didn't get to Egypt, you know, all the things I want. And I was like, and we live on a golf course and I didn't get to ride on a golf cart on a golf cart. Like little things that I wanted to do. Right. And so
you're like, I didn't do these things yet,
Lord. And so, but I knew it was time for me to go. And but the doctors weren't hearing it. And so it's a training hospital. They have a lot of fellows and stuff coming in. And so after day 4, the doctor comes in and says, Captain Harrell, we can't find anything. We're sending you home today.
But you don't want to be sent home, do you?
I told them they could euthanize me because the pain was unlivable. Even they had me on Dilaudid, which is one of the highest level meds every whatever time, hour, 2 hour, whatever's the time. Like I needed it every second. And even then it didn't do anything to the pain at all. It was extreme pain.
But they could not figure out. And then you know what, at Walter Reed Medical Center, they are the top of the top, period, right? I used to cover that in pharmaceutical sales. I used to cover that area.
Yes.
So you know they are like creme de la creme. And they were like, we're going to send you home?
We're going to send you home. And oh, by the way, you just got back from deployment. So we're going to send in the psychiatrist for an evaluation. So I said,
attributed to mental.
Somatic. So I said, I'm a mental health. I couldn't even be a patient because I had to fight to speak their language. I said, if this is a somatic symptom, then we need to figure it out. I said, because you wouldn't be able to deal with the pain. Like it was unmatched. It was not even pain. It was on another level. It was like a spiritual, like I had to be out of my body type pain. Ooh. And so I said, send in that psychiatrist. So they sent in a psychiatrist. I told them they could euthanize me. So they said, we're going to do one more thing. And, you know, they said, we're going to do one more thing. We're going to take a sample. So they did a fluoroscopy. They took put this huge needle all the way in my hip. They took a sample. Listen to me. When they got that analysis, maybe, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes, whatever it took, everybody's running in the room. We got to get her to surgery. I mean, it was so scary. Me and my husband did not know what was going on. My husband, he's in tears. He's praying over me. He's covering me. And at the time, my sister was turning 40 that year, and we were supposed to be going to Disney. I had all these gift sets and packs, Disney packs. And I'm like, oh my God, I got to get out of here. We got to go to Disney. I'm not even thinking. I'm not even thinking about me.
By the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So they come running in. Clearly something is wrong. They've discovered that they don't need to put you to sleep, but they need to come to some type of conclusion of what the issue really is.
Yes.
So what was the issue? What did they discover?
I had a septic hip.
Oh my gosh.
If I had been there a couple of more days, even if I was so afraid they were going to put me in the mental health portion of the hospital, because I would have died.
Of course.
I would have died within days, right in that hospital or home, if they would have sent me home.
Okay. Wow. Y'all listen. Okay. How important is it? I'm trying to think of some questions because this is just a conversation. I got my arms over here crossed. I don't have no written questions. All I'm thinking about is the fact that it is so important to advocate for yourself.
You have to.
Because they were bringing in mental health specialists, psychiatrists to evaluate you because they could not find anything wrong. So how important is it from your perspective to advocate for yourself to the point, extreme measures, really?
Ooh, I'm trying to, every time I think about it, here's what I will say to everybody in the world. I'm somebody who was at the top of my career. An 06 captain/colonel. So you think, you got rank, you got status. So can you imagine what happens to somebody who isn't in the medical system and who doesn't have the experience? I knew what to do. And so it pains me because, especially with all of the healthcare disparities that we're still seeing in the world, for us to feel like we're not worthy, to feel like our lives are not worthy of getting even the compassion.
Yes.
Because that's not compassion to tell me that I'm crazy.
That's right.
Or to make me feel like I'm crazy.
Like something's wrong with me. I'm telling you, I have all of these specialty degrees and different things behind my name. And I'm telling you what I know. But you're telling me something's wrong with me for knowing it. So, but then you find out really there wasn't anything wrong with me, and I could have died in the process of you trying to put me in my place. It's like, really? Oh.
Yes. So it's very important to advocate for yourself. And you may not, I felt like I didn't have the energy. And at some point I did feel like, okay, if it's time for me to go, like, Lord, I'm ready, because I did not want to be in an environment where I had served and given up, sacrificed my life for this country, for them to, basically discount what I was saying to them. I had did races all over the world, bodybuilding. So, and I'd never been hospitalized. So how can you not dig a little bit deeper? And what also hurts me is I've told other people the story, and one person who didn't even know what it was said, "Oh, that sounds like sepsis to me." So that's the part that's really concerning. So to advocate, you may not have the energy. And so I believe that prayer is very important, which I was doing a lot of it because I thought I wasn't going to make it anyways. And also, you may not have the energy, but hopefully you can connect with someone who can help you navigate that system, who can help you. It's not always easy. But if I believe that when you are still on this earth, when you still have lungs, the air to breathe in your lungs, that means that God still has a purpose for your life.
I believe that.
And so till you take your last breath, so you have to advocate, because
Yes.
otherwise you wouldn't have made it. I would have died days before that, then, before I even came in. Why did I live?
Right.
It's because God has a purpose. And maybe I'm at a point where maybe I'm the voice. Maybe I can be a voice for people.
Whew, okay. So, all right. So I'm going to pull up a few of these pictures. First of all, I've just typed what you shared. Prayer is very important. I'll put my glasses back. Very important in advocating for yourself or even getting someone else to help you on your behalf. If you feel like I'm just overloaded and at my wits' end, cannot figure this thing out, get someone else that represents you. I think that's just wonderful advice. And as you have gone through your near-death experience, I saw a few pictures where some people were surrounding you in your bedside.
That was when we were supposed to be celebrating Ernetta's birthday. So I had a surprise birthday party. I tried to arrange it. So yeah, we had a birthday party for her. They ran up. We had to cancel our Disney trip at that time. But yeah, they came up. They were right by my side. They came up every single time, that I needed them. So they were such a blessing in my life.
And this picture, talk to us about that.
Yeah, this one I was getting, it looks like I was in rehab. I don't know if that was the rehab center, but I was in a hospital over 2.5 months, and I had intravenous antibiotics in my body for 6 weeks straight, 24/7. And because of all of that and the surgeries, I had 2 surgeries that week back to back. And it caused, and I had to get a blood transfusion. It caused a lot of havoc on my body. And I ended up developing all of these medical conditions to the point where several months later, the next year, I thought I was having a heart attack or a stroke. And I went to the hospital and they took an x-ray of my chest, and I had all these lesions all over my lungs. They thought I had cancer. And my family came back up again. And when they left, so I was in for a week, they left that Sunday, and I got Bell's palsy right when they left. So I had been released from the hospital. I got Bell's palsy. So at this point, I thought I had a terminal illness and they weren't telling me. So we go back to the ER, and if I need palliative care, you need to tell me, and my husband's like, babe, I could hear you in the waiting room. But yeah, this lady prayed over me. One of the nurses prayed over me, and I ended up it took them about 6 months to diagnose me. But remember, this was during COVID. So it was very hard to get appointments. It was hard to get specialty care. But I had sarcoidosis of my lungs.
And again, all of this is happening undiagnosed, unbeknownst to you. And it is got to be like overwhelming, because each time it appears like it's a near-death experience. Y'all, we're talking today with Captain Malaysia Harrell, and she is talking to us about how she has gone from a near-death experience to new life.
Yes.
And you know how somebody say, I got a t-shirt for it, wrote a book. This woman is a true testimony to what God can do in our lives. I want to also let you know how you can stay connected with her at this point too. Tell people how they can stay connected with you.
So you can stay connected to me, www.malaysiaharrell.com. That is my coaching platform and my speaking engagements and my authorship. I have my new book coming out soon. And then also I am the owner of Blissful Life Consulting. So www.blissfullifeconsulting.com. So we do holistic wellness retreats and also corporate wellness. So yeah, we have some great things that we're doing in the community and philanthropy work, philanthropic. So we just I feel like my life is a dedication to God.
I feel like your life is a dedication to God too. And I'm super excited to know you and to just be able to share this stage with you today and share your story. So make sure you all stay connected with Malaysia. And I put it in the comment section too. I also want to let you all know that we have our next group training coming up. If you want to learn how to start your own show from scratch, then I take usually 5 students in a group class, and our next class is coming up. in the next couple of weeks. And so we have one seat left, and you are welcome to grab that seat. And you can reach out to me at 704-944-3534. Or you can email me, kim@thebalancedoctor.tv. I recently had an 81-year-old graduate. I'm going to pull it up if I can. But I'm going to I definitely want you all to, wait a minute. Yeah, I'm going to share the link with you all just so you know, and put it here in the comment section. But she wrote for the USA Today. And then she also wrote the biography for Jesse Jackson, and as well what else? Oh, and Dr. Coretta Scott King. So I'm excited because she just graduated, and I want to put the link here for you to watch her graduation along with her classmates.
Wow.
And they are excited. Dr. Trina Hines is in that class as well, and she has Living Your Legacy with Dr. Trina, and then Project Strength with Margaretta. So if you click on that link that I put, or copy and paste it into your browser, you'll be able to see their graduation, just so you get a flavor of how the students are faring that graduate from the program.
Wow.
I've had about 60 or so since the pandemic started, and it's been my true pleasure to work with helping people create their own shows. So in 2016, your grandmother passed, but it also seemed like it was a beautiful time in your life too, because you got married.
I got married
in 2016.
Well, that's interesting because I had made a declaration to God in January that I wanted to be a wife. And this is my husband, Danzel. He's so amazing. He's also a retired Army Ranger Airborne vet.
Go, Danzel.
He's been there by my side every step of the way with everything. And so I made a declaration to God. I actually left my church. I was at Alfred Street Baptist Church just temporarily to go to another church. And they had what was called like you come up for prayer. It was like a drive-through for prayer. So you get in line and there's somebody that prays for you. So I went up and they asked what I wanted prayer for. And I told them I want to be a wife. And when I said it, the gentleman that prayed for me, I said it with such conviction that he said this prayer over me. And it was like, when I left that church that day, I was a wife. I had become a wife. I believe in the power of manifesting, anything that God has for you. Yeah. And so, and it's a lot of series of events that were miracles that happened to get me to meet my husband. And I knew it was divine. But at the time, my grandmother was passed. We were dating and my grandmother was passing, and he dropped everything. So I got the call from the doctors. They were like, listen, you have to come up. You got to get the family together. So he dropped everything and drove me up there. And so she meets him. Now, my grandmother, she's one of these people where from the South, you know how they could be in your presence and they'll know right away.
Oh, yeah. Like, girl, leave him alone. Or he is the one. Okay,
yes. And so she made him, I wasn't going to bring him in because, again, she was on her deathbed, but I was praying that it wasn't her time, and so she was like, no, I want to meet him. And I'm like, really? We're just dating. Like, I'm not. So she had him make her some coffee. He went out, got her coffee. He was so nervous, stirring it for her. And, but when he left, she said basically, like, I think he's the one. She said, you never bring anyone home. But I'm like, Nana, he just drove me. He's my boyfriend. That doesn't mean. She was like, no. She said, I see it. She said, marry him. And, because she knows I was still, even though I was on my journey to becoming a wife before I was a wife. And I made it clear to him when we were dating. And that's the first thing he came to the church I was visiting, and he quickly brought me to his church, to First Baptist Church of Glenarden. And we were going there every week. But yeah, we ended up getting married that same year. We met in April and we got married in November.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah. When you're a wife, you're not dating. We're not doing that.
That's okay. You know what? That is a conversation.
That's a whole biblical thing.
No, Because that's what even though, I tell people many times over that I don't have some sad story. I literally believe that God shielded me and
Yes,
protected me because
that's
he
right.
made me God. I'm not just
That's
talking
right.
about Frank. Okay. God made me believe that I was in a wonderful marriage.
Yeah.
So for the 28 years that I was married, I love my marriage. I love
Yeah,
my life. And
that's
so I
right.
don't have some story that's like, he was hitting me upside the head. He was doing this.
Yeah.
I had I knew that we had some
Yeah.
circumstances, things that happen as many couples may
Yeah.
have. But
That's
guess what?
right.
At the end of the day, I was like, I love my husband. I
That's
love
right.
being his wife and going through this thing called life together. So
Yeah.
whenever I realized that I was in some kind of film, I don't know what kind of, based on a true story. That's all I'll
Yeah.
say. I realized that I was like, wait a minute now, what in the world
Yes.
is popping off that I am unbeknownst to me at this level, for real, for real. You
Yes.
cannot be
Yeah.
this oblivious to life, right?
Yeah.
I say that to say, fast forward, because it's years later now.
Yeah.
I'm like, if I talk to someone, Malaysia, I'm like, I'm not interested in dating. I'm supposed to date you, and you're gonna possibly still take other people places too.
Oh
The
no.
devil is a liar.
A lie, a whole lie.
Whole lot. Okay. That is not what we're doing.
No.
I'm not interested in stuff like that, but I'd rather not play a game and be like, okay, well, we'll see how it goes. No, thank you.
No.
Because it's not how God has equipped me and built me. I'm a wife. I'm a wife.
That's right. You're
Yeah.
already a wife. We're already a wife.
Oh, good.
And what you just said just really hit me, because I want to say this to the women who want to be married or who are considering marriage or who are dating. The first date that we went on, we had scheduled a date on a Saturday, and on that Friday we were on the phone and I was like, "Oh, I'm going to the movies." And he's like, "You going to the movies?" I'm like, "Yeah, I always go out by myself. I travel by myself." He's like, "Well, I don't want you to go by yourself." And so he brought me to the movies. I said, "But I still want my date on Saturday. I don't, because it was just a movie. I want my dinner. I want my date."
Your real date.
So he brought me to the movies on that Friday night. The Saturday, so I consider the Saturday, it's called a weekend, our first weekend date. But
Okay.
that Saturday, he brought me to the Gaylord Hotel. He brought me to a beautiful restaurant and at the National Harbor, and we went on the Ferris wheel out there too. It was the most amazing date ever. But do you know, at dinner, because we met on Match.com. Now, normally I had already been online, and normally I don't recommend that, but God told me to get online. That's a whole nother thing. I had a intuition to get online after an encounter that I had with another woman.
Okay.
And so I met him within a couple weeks, to the point where I got my money back for being on Match.com because it was in the period. So I got a free husband. I always joke with him, I got a free husband. But that day, yes. Oh, somebody said they met their husband. Yes.
Okay, yeah. If you all, that's what I definitely got to put that in here. If you all met your spouse online, please make sure you drop it in the comments section.
Yes.
We'd love to hear your love story as well, and even have you possibly come and be a guest on the show if there's a fit here. So please tell us your love story too. Okay, so you met him you got a free husband on Match.com.
I got a free husband, but God aligned that whole thing. And so that night, when you'll know when a man really wants, and of course you have to have discernment, you have to continue to pray, but God revealed some things to me that night. When we went to dinner, he said, "I want to only date you exclusively, and I'm cutting my account off of Match today." He basically told me I was going to be his woman at that time. So it wasn't I knew him for, and again, we had only been talking for a couple of weeks. Matter of fact, I had went on a couple dates in between. I think I had maybe 1 or 2 dates I had went on already. But no, he shut it all down that one night.
Wow. Okay. Yes. This is going to be interesting, because actually tomorrow we have a relationship coach, Ken Canyon, is going to be coming on the Kim Jacobs Show. And if y'all know about Ken Canyon, you know he is a whole trip. And we're going to be having some candid conversations talking about relationships, because he believes that you should go on dates and collect data from
Yes.
these people, so you can know whether they're a good fit or not for you.
Yes.
So but I believe that you should go on a date with one person, and then if it doesn't work out, then fine, you go on about your business, I go on about mine, and then we can go on and date other people. That's what I think. But
Yes.
who knows? I have dated. I was with the same person since I was 18 years old, so I may be
Right.
way old school.
Yeah. And that's you, what you say is very relevant. But I think in the beginning, you may have a couple that, again, we weren't dating yet by that time when we went on the date, right? We only had a couple phone conversations. So in that time I had a couple of dates, but also the thing that I did a lot of inner work on myself. And the
Yes.
other thing is I read the book, The Ring Formula by Dr. Aldewan Tart, who is a psychologist, a Christian psychologist in Atlanta. And I feel like that book was so amazing. It actually had exercises that you needed to do for yourself because, and again, I'm still becoming a wife. There's no like, oh, I've arrived, like to learn what it is, especially from coming from a single parent home, to even understanding what a relationship is really supposed to be about. That is a lifelong journey, I feel like, especially as you're healing.
I agree. I agree
Yeah.
with everything that you have been sharing. So this has been
Yes.
quite informative in conversation that we've had. So, okay, so now you work with women specifically along their healing journey as well. How do you feel like your own personal healing journey played a role in how you now help others? Just talk to me about that.
Ooh, that's so good. It's so good. So I had started Blissful Life Consulting in 2017. I was going to do 10 more years in the military, but I was hoping, I'll have everything together. And God was like, nope, I got another plan for you. And so when I had my own healing journey, I realized for high achieving women, no one is checking for us. No one even believes when we make a phone call to talk to someone about our issues, everyone is talking about theirs. We don't even have the space to even mention our stuff.
Right.
And so I realized that there was a space for women who need, or a place that women who were high achievers, who wore the mask, who are successful. Everybody's like, well, you have a house, you have money, you have a car, you're fine. You have medical care. You don't need anything. But if we are the people that God has chosen or assigned to help others, we also need help. We also need camaraderie. We need a support system, and we need people who can speak our language. We don't need to go to someone and they patronize us like a baby either. So we need that balance of people who can understand us, who can align with us, who can relate to us. And so now I'm doing these events for high achieving women. I have a retreat. It's called the New Day Elevation Retreat, October 11th through 13th in Santa Monica, California. We're going to be going to the Reality Center. And I just want to expose people to holistic practices for healing, because sometimes I'm not saying to discount Western medicine, because that's what I've been trained under. I believe that there's a place for both. So I'm in my PhD for mind body medicine, and I'm incorporating those tools and techniques to help people, really be catapulted into their divine alignment with their divine assignment. Because what I find is a lot of us have money, or we're doing things, but we're empty inside. We don't feel fulfilled.
That's right.
We're crying before we go to work. We're hiding our tears from people, and we're like, oh, now I have all these responsibilities. I can't just leave this lawyer job. I can't just leave this nurse job. I can't just leave. But can you have a balance in the middle where you're still doing your job, but you're asking God for guidance to help transition you to where to the plan that he has for you. And so I do that for the women. And then of course, with Blissful Life Consulting, we do it for everybody. So we do it for men, women, children, youth. And then we also do it for our corporate partners as well. We just had an event, an aromatherapy, power of aromatherapy event in our community in the DC Metro Virginia area. And it was so powerful because I used aromatherapy. You don't always have all the resources. You can't travel. or you may not have the money. You might be going in debt for trying to heal yourself. But there's things that you can do right at home that don't cost you one dime. Even if you buy a $3, $4, $5 bottle of essential oils on Amazon. I want to teach people that you do have the power to heal yourself. God has given us the discernment. And when you align with him, the people that you need in your life will just surround you. I'm meeting with you today. You know, if it wasn't for Arnetta having the conference, I wouldn't have met you. I wouldn't have met all the other we were made for such a time as this, and everything is coming together.
Yeah, I agree. I don't believe that there's any mistakes. Nothing happens by happenstance, but God allows us to connect paths. I don't even believe in crossing paths. I believe we connected for such a time as this. And I'm so grateful for it. I want to pop up your retreat. So anyone that knows, you can actually follow Malaysia right on her social media pages, and that's where I just found this. New Day Elevation Retreat is October 11th through the 13th in Santa Monica, California. Y'all want to get ready for this?
So beautiful. Ooh.
Meditation, multi-sensory wellness, sound bath, empowering workshops, and rejuvenation. And you definitely don't want to miss it. You can email her info@blissfullifeconsulting.com, info@blissfullifeconsulting.com to learn more. Oh, what a turnaround in your life. Now, you went from what they thought could have been a stroke, which was Bell's palsy. You went from sepsis hip to this. Okay.
Yes.
So now you're in this vein of your life.
Yes.
What is this? What is this? What is this all about here?
This is being a messenger of hope. This is showing people with the power of alignment with God and miracles. Again, miracles upon miracles upon miracles. I have a show called Tiny Miracles on Instagram every Thursday night at 7 p.m. This is to show you, I told God, like, I didn't want to be here. I'm like, I can't do this. But I'm like, if you want me to do what you told me to do, then I need your help in doing it. And so I now have utilized my platform to not only speak to other women, to sow into their lives. Sometimes people will not see God, but they will see you, and they'll see God through you. And so, this was in my, when I was in the rehab, and I saw these wings, and I'm like, oh, I got it. The angels are surrounding me. But so a week after my retirement ceremony, I was at a retreat speaking for veteran women nurses. A week after that, I was in a meeting with Howard Schultz, who was the billionaire founder of Starbucks. And ever since then, when I decided to be obedient, because I was fighting God, I wanted to stay active duty. I wanted my 20 years. I'm like, you're not going to medically discharge or retire me before my 20 years. I was fighting, but I was getting more sick. So you see that I was able to walk in my ceremony without my cane. I was able, now them shoes was a little wobbly. I will say that.
Look at you standing tall, woman of God. And I am just so inspired by what God did to transform your life, for you to be here as a living, walking, breathing testimony of the goodness of God. So I'm really, really grateful for that.
Yes. And because we didn't get to go to Disney for Ernetta's birthday, we ended up going to Universal Studios several years later. And so at least we got to do, something to try to revive everything, the celebration of life on all fronts. So now I'm dedicating my life to spreading the message, doing workshops, retreats, speaking engagements. Now I'm getting booked for all these speaking engagements. I have one this weekend, but again, I'm like, Lord, can I do this? Am I going to be in pain? Am I going to have, because again, I don't want to say like I've arrived. And I love the mantra that Arnetta uses, I am healed, because you have to speak life into you. But I do believe that healing is a journey, and I don't believe that you will arrive until it's time to go off of this earth. I feel like there are always, especially living here with everything that's going on every day, you got to continue. So I don't want you to say, oh, I'm healed, I'm not going to do anything else. No, you continue to work those healing muscles through spirituality. So I do spiritual transformation coaching, because what I found in my practice of doing mental health therapy for over, I don't know, 28 years,
Right.
What I found is that you'll get temporary changes if you just use your mind. Yes, you can change your mindset, but if you don't change the spirit, if you don't cleanse the spirit, then what's going to happen is you will go back. You ever notice when it's like, oh, I have this job and I have a boss that's crazy or whatever, and then you go to another job and you have the same situation, or you're in a relationship with someone and you get in the next relationship and it's the same, you're on this hamster wheel, or you lose 100 pounds and you gain 110 back. It's because your spirit still is holding on to whatever it is, whether it's traumas, whether it's blockages. There's some energetic issues that are going on that need to be addressed. So if I just if I just do the outside and just the mind, then it's just going to be very temporary. You have to operate those spiritual muscles and exercise them just like you do working out or anything else that you do. So
yes, y'all, you can't, if you cannot apply what you have learned today and it changes and transforms your life, I'm telling you, you are there. I don't want to say there's no hope, because I believe there's always hope. But what I will tell you is that we have no excuses after hearing Malaysia Harrell's story today. And I just, again, want to compliment your husband, because he stayed by your side in the midst of tragedy and triumphed with you together. And I'm so excited about your journey with him. And I just want to say, kudos to you. Kudos to you.
Thank you.
And anybody, okay, I know Mackenzie, there were maybe one or two more comments. Put them up real quick if you can. Any comments that's back there? Pop them up on the screen for a second. Ernetta said, congratulations to the 81-year-old that graduated. She said, my brother-in-law, he is the bomb. Basically.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Whole lot if you think that we're going to be dating just to be dating.
Oh, no.
Okay, girl. Oh, I met my husband on Tinder.
Yes, Mackenzie.
Mackenzie backstage and hooked up with her Boaz on Tinder.
Yes.
She said something about a baby. Happily married for almost 3 years. And
that's right. Congratulations.
All right. Any other comments? I tried to get all your comments in, everybody. And I see you, Marika Green. I see you, Marika. I see you, Mackenzie. I see you, Dr. Juliet Pinder. And I saw you said, wow, awesome. You had a baby in September, Mackenzie said. Katrina Lee, I see you. Kevin Newman, I see you. I see all of you guys. Annabelle Lola, Nicole Ron, Felicia Lucole, Coakley, John Allen, Trina Hines, Dr. Trina Hines. Okay. Desmoni, I see all of you guys. I see all of y'all, and I thank you all for tuning in. Mother Julia Harper as well. You have to address who you are with, in the true you will manifest on the outside.
That's so true.
To who you truly are.
Yes.
Okay. I love you, sis, and brother-in-law.
Love you too. And brother-in-law, my other brother-in-law, he taking care of her to help bring her up and down. Listen, they was on that road. So we were blessed to have the husband.
Take all the comments down, Mackenzie. Let me also tell you all that with the Kim Jacob, I should tell y'all, I just recently received an award too, which is in the Know Women to Know in the Carolinas area. And so it was a pleasure to be selected and recognized for that particular honor and celebrated. They had Rose Wars, all kind of stuff. It was like a stepping out occasion.
Congratulations.
It was a sight to behold. So what an honor and a privilege. Thank you so much, Know Women, for honoring me in that. And that was the photo shoot that they did. I was like, I didn't even know my legs looked like that, but I was like,
you're beautiful.
I wasn't thinking about my legs, but somebody said that. I was like, okay, great. All right. Make sure you all tune in tomorrow, because you're going to get to hear candid conversations from Ken Canyon. He will be here. And if you have any questions about relationships, go ahead and pop them into my email. You can send it over to our Facebook page. We'll capture them and share them. And then the only other thing I want to let you know before I get a closing comment from you, Malaysia, is have you poured into the Kim Jacobs Show? We come on Monday through Friday. Let me look in y'all eyes for a minute. Listen, we come on Monday through Friday, just like all of these primetime, daytime talk shows, right? We are right here in your home, bringing balance to the world, one household at a time. And the guests that we bring on, Captain Malaysia Harrell, and many others are phenomenal guests, pouring their souls out to help bring better balance to your life. Yeah. As a busy mom, as a busy executive, as a busy parent, whatever it is that's making you tune into the Kim Jacobs Show, take a moment to pour into our broadcast. It is solely based on contributions and partnerships from community members like yourself. So take a moment, screenshot this. Let me smile in case they take a screenshot. Okay. Somebody might be taking a screenshot. You don't want to be all like idiot.
Yes.
Make sure you all send the Cash App, which actually, Malaysia, I saw that you sent the Cash App.
Yes, I did.
Thank you for doing that.
You're welcome.
To Kim Jacobs Inc. Or you can use paypal.me/Kim Jacobs Inc. Some people use Venmo. That's at the Kim Jacobs Show. Or you can even Zelle 704-962-7161. You can become a part of our Patreon membership, which is exclusive back content that you don't normally get exposed to. And that's patreon.com/the Kim Jacobs Show. And Sharon, I saw that you recently became a Patreon member, so welcome aboard. Also, motherdreamer.com/join. If you're a mother with goals, dreams, you put them on the back burner, but you want to dust them off, join the Mother Dreamer movement. motherdreamer.com/join. Closing comment, Malaysia.
Keep God first in all you do, and everything will be provided for you. It may not seem like it. Sometimes the situation looks bleak in front of you, but I'm telling you, if you are living today, then that means that God has an amazing plan for your life. And sometimes you just need a plan and clarity for what that is. And so I hope if you are a woman who need clarity, you contact me so that we can go to the retreat, and you're going to get clarity at that retreat in October. So thank you again, Miss Kim, for what the light that you're providing in this world and everything that you're doing. You are such an amazing blessing, and I'm happy to support you in anything that you do.
Thank you. Thank you all for tuning in today to this episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. I see Arnetta saying congratulations. I'm so excited for you. You deserve it and much more. I love you, Arnetta Caldwell. Absolutely. Yeah. And keep inspiring, sis. This is just the beginning.
Yes, it love is. You, thank you, Arnetta. I love you.
All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. We'll see you again Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on the Kim Jacobs Show. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you for being my guest, Malaysia. I love you.
Bye-bye. Love you too. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the Kim Jacobs Show and for being in the virtual studio audience. Your presence truly does make